Deep in the heart of New Jersey lies a sprawling, desolate wilderness known as the Pine Barrens. Over 1 million acres of dense forests, cedar swamps, and acidic waters. It is a place of absolute isolation. But the Pine Barrens are not empty. For nearly 300 years, this desolate stretch of land has been the hunting ground for North America's most terrifying cryptid. A creature born not of evolution, but of a mother's curse, the Jersey Devil. Today, we are not looking at the campfire stories. We are peeling back the sanitized myths to examine the raw, brutal history of the Leeds Devil. We will explore its grotesque origins, the terrifying lore that surrounds it, and the documented encounters that ended not in a fleeting glimpse, but in horrific mutilation and death. Let us go back to the year 1735, to a dismal, storm-battered cabin deep in the pines at Estelleville. As the agonizing labor began on a violent, stormy night, she screamed out in absolute despair, "Let this one be the devil!" It was an invocation of pure agony, and it was answered. The birth itself seemed normal at first. Surrounded by local midwives, Mother Leeds delivered a seemingly healthy human boy. But within moments, the air in the suffocatingly small room grew freezing cold. The child began to mutate. The midwives watched in paralyzed horror as the infant's flesh tore and stretched. Its hands hardened into cloven hooves. Leathery, bat-like wings ripped through the skin of its back, spraying the bedsheets with dark crimson. Its head elongated into the skull of a horse, and its eyes burned with an unnatural, glowing malice. This was not a slow transformation. It was a violent, agonizing eruption of a monster. The creature did not cry. It unleashed a deafening, high-pitched screech that shattered the windows. Then, the slaughter began. The newborn abomination turned on the midwives, using its newly formed claws and hooves to tear through flesh and bone. The cabin became a slaughterhouse. Blood pooled on the floorboards as the creature attacked its own mother, leaving a wake of unspeakable carnage before it burst through the chimney, flying out into the howling storm. The midwives who survived were left traumatized, covered in the blood of their peers, babbling about a demon spawned in the pines. The Jersey Devil had arrived, and it was hungry. What exactly is prowling the Pine Barrens? The lore describes a chimera of nightmares. It stands on two legs like a man, but moves with the erratic, terrifying speed of a wild beast. It is roughly 6 feet tall, draped in coarse, dark hair. Its head is a bizarre amalgamation of a horse and a dog, featuring glowing red eyes that pierce the impenetrable darkness of the woods. From its back sprout the massive, leathery wings of a bat, capable of lifting it effortlessly into the tree canopy. It has a long, forked tail, but its most dangerous weapons are its limbs, cloven hooves capable of crushing a man's skull, and razor-sharp claws designed to gut prey in a single swipe. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of the lore is the sound. Before you see the Jersey Devil, you hear it. A piercing, unearthly scream that echoes through the trees, described as a blend of a woman being violently murdered and the screech of a dying animal. It is a sound designed to paralyze prey with absolute terror. Over the centuries, the lore evolved. Native American tribes of the region, the Lenape, called the area Popuesing, meaning place of the dragon, hinting that a winged terror may have existed here long before the Leeds family arrived. But the European settlers solidified the curse. Exorcisms were reportedly performed in the 1740s by clergymen, attempting to cleanse the woods. The monster was banished for exactly 100 years, but when that century passed, the devil returned, more violent than ever. The history of the Jersey Devil is completely soaked in blood. We often hear of sightings, but we rarely discuss the victims. Let us examine the cases where the creature's thirst for violence could not be contained. In the brutal winter of 1840, the rural farms bordering the Pine Barrens became hunting grounds. Livestock was not just killed, it was utterly decimated. Farmers awoke to find locked barns torn open from the roof down. Inside, sheep and cattle were found completely disemboweled, their organs strung up in the rafters. But the true horror struck when a local farmhand named Elias went out one evening to secure the perimeter. When he didn't return, a search party was formed. They didn't find Elias alive. They found him deep in the snow, dragged for miles. His torso had been torn completely open, deep claw marks gouging through his heavy winter coat, snapping his ribs like twigs. The massive cloven hoof prints circling his ruined body told the farmers everything they needed to know. This was no bear. Bears do not drop upon their prey from the sky. Decades later, in the infamous week of January 1909, the entire state of New Jersey was plunged into absolute hysteria. Schools closed, mills shut down, and armed men patrolled the streets. This was the week the Jersey Devil left the woods and brought its reign of terror to the towns. In Haddonfield, a trolley car full of passengers was violently attacked in the dead of night. The massive creature swooped out of the darkness, crashing onto the roof of the trolley. The metal buckled under its tremendous weight. The creature smashed through the glass windows, plunging the passengers into absolute chaos. As it reached inside with massive claws, a man named Thomas Evans suffered a massive fatal heart attack, his heart completely giving out from the sheer terror of staring into the beast's glowing eyes. In a neighboring town that same week, a massive search dog was deployed to track the beast. The dog's handler found the animal hours later, ripped clean in half, the beast's monstrous scream echoing into the night. But perhaps the most chilling documented loss of human life occurred in the autumn of 1925. A group of 3 experienced hunters, heavily armed with high-powered rifles, entered the deepest part of the Pine Barrens, tracking what they believed was a rogue black bear. They were seasoned woodsmen, men who feared nothing. But the woods have a way of changing men. Days passed with no word. When a rescue party finally entered the swamps, they found the hunters' campsite in absolute ruins. Tents were shredded to ribbons. Rifles were found snapped in half, the heavy steel barrels bent by an impossible force. And then, they looked up. Suspended 50 feet in the air, wedged violently into the fork of a massive pitch pine, was the body of the lead hunter. He had been dropped from a terrifying height. His neck was broken, his chest cavity crushed, and massive unidentifiable puncture wounds riddled his shoulders, as if he had been picked up by giant razor-sharp talons. The other 2 men were never found. Not a single trace, not a shred of clothing. The Pine Barrens had swallowed them whole. The official reports claimed a bear attack, but locals knew the truth. Bears do not fly, and bears do not possess the sheer, calculated malice required to dismantle an armed camp and take men into the sky. Even today, as highways cut through the state and modern civilization presses in on all sides, the Pine Barrens remain a massive, untouchable void on the map. People still vanish in those woods. Hikers step off the trail and are never seen again. Abandoned cars sit rusting on sandy dirt roads. The authorities blame the harsh environment, the disorienting landscape, or the treacherous bogs. But those who live on the edges of the forest, those who lock their doors tight when the sun goes down, they know what dwells in the dark. The Jersey Devil is not a myth cooked up to scare children. It is a biological nightmare, a cursed anomaly that has stalked the eastern seaboard for centuries. It is an apex predator with the intelligence of a man and the viciousness of a demon. So, if you ever find yourself driving through southern New Jersey on a moonless night and your car breaks down near the tree line, do not wander into the woods. Lock your doors, turn off your headlights, and pray you don't hear the screech.